We left Ogada this morning. We are now in Portugal. So we have a new country day today. And our first stop is at a place called Dom Jesus, or Dom Jesus, or maybe even Jesus, who knows. I haven't put my my Spanish language pack away yet, and I need to install my Portuguese one, which is a bit harder because I haven't got a Portuguese language pack. The computer says no. So our park up tonight is free. It's a car park. I'm not sure what services there are. I don't think there are any other than bins and maybe water. We did drive up the hill to Dom Jesus, and it was an absolute nightmare of a hill.
It's Dom Jesus, I think.
There we go. Let's go and explore. Waiting for a bus, and if you know us, this frequently doesn't go well. Well, we have some success. We're on a bus. And we've even got a ticket. So we're in the city of Braga. Do you know, it's really strange. Darrelle's been to Portugal before. I've never been to Portugal as far as I'm aware. The thing about coming to a country that you've never been to before is it's all new. In Spain, I can speak enough Spanish to get me by. In Portugal, I really have to develop my language skills here, because apart from being able to say thank you, just about, if I remember, if it doesn't come out as gracias.
Or even obrigada.
The building is the old palace of the archbishops. Dates back to 1746. Braga was founded as Bracara Augusta by the Romans in 16 BC. It's Portugal's oldest city. As a former Roman provincial capital and religious centre, it became known as Portuguese Rome within the country's oldest cathedral here, dating to the 11th century. Virtually every corner you turn, there's a church, a monastic building, a convent, a hospital. Quite extraordinary. And all of that old architecture has been muddled in with a complete mismatch of many years of modern builds.
Alright, we did so well coming in.
I hate buses. I hate public transport. I hate the illogical nature of ins and outs. The number 2 bus didn't stop straight past, which was very annoying. So we got the next bus. Not understanding the next bus went right to the top of the mountain, switchback, hairpins, oh my goodness. And we'd worked out roughly the right place to get off, and we got off. The driver called us back and said, no, don't get off here, stay on the bus. Another passenger then translated, no, don't get off here, stay on the bus. And he took us right the way to the top of the mountain, and then all the way back down again to where we could easily walk back to Claude. What an absolute star. We're going to go up to the top of the mountain.
There's a famous staircase and a funicular railway. We're thinking about taking the railway up and the steps down. There's only about 560 steps. Let's go.
On second thoughts, perhaps we'll walk up. So as we walk up the hill to Dom Jesus,
there are 19 chapels in total. 14 of them are Stations of the Cross.
And the first chapel is the Chapel of the Last Supper. We have the Chapel of Betrayal, depicting Judas. The Chapel of Darkness, as we see Jesus bound, having been accused of blasphemy. These chapels really are a joyous experience. And so far we've had agony, the Last Supper, betrayal, And this is flagellation. They really knew how to enjoy themselves, didn't they? As we continue up the steps, it reminds me of a song. Halfway up the stairs is a stair where I sit.
And now, looking up, we can see the staircase continues. I don't much like this Gothic architecture.
We've reached the top. Luckily no pearly gates. Stunning view.
The basilica at the top was built between 1794 and 1811. It's on a much earlier place of pilgrimage, going back at least 600 years. The chapels and the staircase all date to the 1830s.
Going front to the back. Well, here we are on the funicular railway. And as you know, I am a class 1 wimp. Ridiculous. It was a lot easier coming down than it was going up. So after our stay by Bom Jesus, we've moved on to Guimarães, about 40 miles down the road, and we're on a car park, free parking area. There are services here. The free area is just round the corner. Everybody seems to be parked on this piece of wasteland, which isn't quite so on the road. So we've joined in. Guimarães, said to be where Portugal started. Well, here we are in the central square in Guimarães. The church here in the square was built in 950. As we walk through the town, there are yet more of the Stations of the Cross. Guimarães is a city and municipality located in northern Portugal. Its historic town centre has been listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 2001. Guimarães has a significant historical importance due to the role it played in the foundation of Portugal.
The reason that Guimarães is so important to Portugal is it is said to be the birthplace of Portugal. That is because the first king, Alfonso I, was born in that castle.
Built in the 10th century. It's what I would describe as a castle. Looks like a castle. It's got crenellated walls.
When it was built, it was the most luxurious palace in the whole of Iberia, with huge fireplaces and beautiful tapestries. Because the guidebook said we had to, who am I to argue?
I had a lovely time in Guimarães. What an interesting place. Unfortunately, yes, we did it again. The museums, which we were going to visit today, Monday, are closed on a Monday. Note to selves, check these damn things. So we're now heading in the direction of Porto. We're booked in a campsite for the next 3 nights, so I'm looking forward to that. And along our way, we stumbled on this place. Comes complete with grazing goat. Goat has already tried to get in the van. Brr. So we're in the municipal area of Da Trofa. Because we know you love these archaeological places, well, you must because you're still here. We've come to yet another Castro. So you will remember that we've already said the Castros are particular of the Iberian Peninsula. And this one is the Castro of Alvarelhos. I am absolutely positive and certain that's not how you say it. So this site is dated through things they've found, artifacts and whatever, back to the Bronze Age, with evidence that it was inhabited from the Bronze Age through to the Middle Ages. It is thought to have been of particular importance. It sits just alongside a fairly major road, which then became a Roman road. The other finds of agricultural work tie in well to its strategic position on the top of the hill overlooking a fertile valley. So what is of particular interest is that the Castros that we've visited in Spain in the main were abandoned once the Romans moved in around about the 1st century, whereas here they've managed to evidence that the Romans actually continued to build and live and function in this space. Well, I do hope, or we do hope, that you find this as interesting as it is. Just extraordinary to step back so far in the past and imagine the people living here. Well, I have to say this is a stunning place and definitely the benefit of following the brown sign. It's a bit breezy in this car park and I haven't brought my microphone because I don't want to look like a complete... We're going to go shopping and we're visiting an Ocken, which we find a bit interesting because Ocken is a French brand. Wow, that's a good start. A replacement headlamp bulb to replace the headlamp bulb that I had to replace. Some sawdust for our dry loo. Remember that we said in the wine bar yesterday, we must understand Portuguese wine. There are somewhere between 14 and 20 different wine districts in Portugal. The prices seem quite reasonable. I mean, obviously there's some significantly more expensive. I think you'll be very glad you don't have smelly vision. This is bacalhau, which is a salted cod, speciality of the Iberian Peninsula and most of Spain actually. Come Easter, the supermarkets absolutely reek of it. Things you wouldn't expect. Turnip greens. I mean, why not? And then these are the sprouting heads of the kale. So of course the question is, see she's in the wine already, how much will it be today? It's quite a haul. So there we are, 112.06 for what's probably about a week's worth of food. Although there will be things we need to top up on. There's 2 bottles of wine, won't be enough for her. Well, we've arrived in Porto and we are on a campsite. We're on the campsite, booked in for 3 days. It looks like a campsite. It's got all the things you'd expect from a campsite. And the campsite is €14 a night, not including electricity. But there are showers and all the rest of the stuff. This is possibly one of the most picturesque bus stops we've ever stood at. Just outside the campsite. Waiting for the 9016 bus to take us to towards Porto. Now, you know how well we do with buses.
So wish us luck.
We were very organised this morning. Got the bus to where we were going and then realised halfway to where we were going that it wasn't actually where we were going at all. And so we have come, it's about a kilometre or so walk away from the bus stop that we got off at, to a gluten-free bakery where we can get pastel de nata, gluten-free, and dairy free. Well, you can't come to Portugal and not have pastel de nata. Gluten-free and dairy-free, which is just incredible. And we also have a piece of cake to share, which I think has a passion fruit and nuts on the top. Two buses and a bakery stop later, we've arrived just on the edge of the historical part of the town city of Porto. It's quite a hill. Well, we've arrived in Porto, in the old town.
And the first port
Of call
is Taylor's.
port. Obviously, we drink port,
Especially you drink port.
but don't necessarily understand everything about it. So hopefully by the end of this,
We'll be able to tell you all about port.
And we are-
why Porto.
and we are €50 lighter already.
Right.
Taylor's is one of the oldest port wine houses remaining independent and family run throughout its history. Now in its 4th century, with family succession assured, it looks to the future with confidence. It's most definitely an English success. Of course, we can thank the French for port. In 1667, the chief minister of France imposed strict restrictions on English imports. In response, King Charles II banned French wine, compelling English merchants to seek alternative supplies. Many turned to the Minho region of northern Portugal, but they soon realised these wines were not suited to the English palate. So the story of Taylor's begins in 1692 with Job Beardsley's arrival in Portugal, trading Minho wines. But then he ventured up into the upper Douro Valley, recognised the superior quality of wines and establishing direct links with the region's farmers and their vineyards. And that's how it all began. This wine cellar was built 300 years ago.
Pompa effectively made port the world's first appellation d'origine contrôlée, and even today, port is subjected to one of the most rigorous and sophisticated quality controls of any classic wine. The oldest vineyards are planted on hundreds of hand-built walled terraces, clinging to the steep hillsides of the valley. These old terraces are classified as World Heritage and form one of the world's most spectacular man-made landscapes. Although wine has been made in the Douro since Roman times, the birth of port is more recent. The first shipments of wine under the name port were recorded in 1678. Taylor's, one of the oldest of the founding port houses, was established just 14 years later in 1692.
133,000 bottles of port. 7 metres in circumference. Can you imagine the skill of the barrel maker that made that? I said at the beginning of the tour, €50. But do you know what? That was so interesting, fascinating, and like all the things that I think you should do, I think you should do this if you come here. So if you're stuck for a Christmas present idea, maybe a 30, 40, 50, 80, or indeed what they call a very, very old, comprising exceptionally rare lots aged in cask for decades, some predating the Second World War. Yeah, that'll do. Thank you very much. It's time to taste. So we have 3 tastes. We have a white, the chip dry. We have a 2020 late bottled vintage. And we have a 10-year-old tawny port. The late vintage port is their highest seller. And when you've opened a bottle of port like that, you've got...
He said it will last about...
You've got about 6 or 7 weeks to drink it. On the other hand, if you open a bottle of vintage port, you've got 24 hours to drink it. Oh, what a terrible thing to have to do. Cheers. So just for a little context, they sell it by the glass. So the chip dry is €6. The late bottled vintage, I can't say that anymore, is €7. The 10-year-old tawny is €11. A 20-year-old tawny 18, a 30-year-old tawny 35, a 40-year-old tawny 45, a 50, 55, and 80, €95 for a glass. The most expensive is the Kingsman, and the Kingsman is a combination of ancient vintages, and that is €110 for the glass. I'd love to try something that old, but I'm not going to, am I? Could have done the Fonseca tour, we could have done the Sandyman tour. So many. In fact, all of the main port houses are represented here. In fact, all of the port houses are represented here. But neither wallet nor liver could take multiple tours. We said we weren't going to because they were 40 or 50 euros each, booking on them on the internet. But we found one for 18 euros each, so we're going on a boat trip.
We crossed the busy bridge from Villanova de Gaia into the UNESCO World Heritage medieval city of Porto. We wandered the streets, but having done what we came to do, we were tired and decided to get the bus back to the campsite.
We had a couple of nights at Parque de Campismo de Salgueiros, but the site was tired. Didn't do a great deal of video because you didn't really want to see it. It had all the services, but only just. Really good charcoal chicken from the restaurant on site, and about a 40-minute transfer by bus stop 250 metres away from the entrance to the campsite into Porto. We had quite a bit of a driving day today. It's tinged with sadness because we were going to drive through the Douro Valley and we were going to stay for a couple of nights. I really wanted to see the incredible landscape of the vineyards in the Douro Valley, where they've been making wine since the Roman times. But the advice seemed to be that we shouldn't do that. And we watched a couple of YouTubers as well, and it really did look precipitous. The roads are very narrow. The only alternative was to go up on the motorway or the toll road. What would that have achieved?
After a couple of quite disturbed nights at the campsite near Porto, we needed a break. And we have come to a beach, and it's called Praia da Poço de Cruz, I think. It's absolutely gorgeous here and so peaceful. We slept so well last night. There are massive sand dunes and really difficult to get over, although there are some steps. But once you get over there, it's gorgeous. This place is on Search for Sites. I'll give you the 3 words, and Park for Night. So it is a free park up. You can't park in the car park. It says quite clearly, no auto caravanas. But you can park on the road where we are. Absolutely delightful spot.
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise. And now there's something in the air. Storing everything within. Oh, dreamy, breezy we go.
That's cold.
We came prepared for a beautiful sunset. Only the sun had clearly got other ideas tonight. Still doesn't take away from it being an absolutely stunning place.
Now that we've completed the first leg of our Portuguese journey, it's time to give Claude his sticker. He's been a good boy. So there we are. Have your sticker, Claude. That's almost straight. I hope you've enjoyed the first part of our Portuguese travels. The next bit will take us into central Portugal and back into Spain. Lots more history. And if you're enjoying watching us, please do subscribe and leave us a comment and let us know what you think. Any ideas of where we should be going that we might have missed?
The rainbow